gentlemen, I am Lex Umaga, and I am back for another episode of Lex's Complex. And with me here today is a controversial figure in the wrestling world of Second Life. He's been all over the grid, he's everywhere, and he just made his first appearance ever in the OEW this past Sunday over at Ascension. LBA, welcome to the program.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Thank you very much.
Okay, LBA, so like I did with Honey Pots, like I did with Superstar, I'm going to ask some really tough questions here, so I want you to be prepared because sometimes, I won't pull my punches because I'm the man who tells it how it is. I like to talk, so here we go. My first question to you, LBA, and I've been wondering about this about you for the last 2 years. I've known you for 2 years. As a matter of fact, let me give you a brief history of how much I know you. When I was leaving the other company, you were coming in. That's how far I know you. And back then, you had this knack of doing it, and you still do it right now. What is it with you and that damn Twitter machine? If A and B are talking, why do you have to continue to see your way in? Explain that to me.
Listen, I always am the kind of person where if somebody is saying something that I can understand and that I can respect,
okay,
I back them up. Sometimes, yes, it does tend to get me in trouble. And you know what? When it comes down to it, when you do something like that, you got to be expected to take any kind of actions or consequences that come along with it.
Okay.
I don't jump into people's situations unless I see myself put in that situation and I add my 2 cents into it. I'm a very opinionated person.
Okay.
Now, my opinions, sometimes I have to defend myself in the ring. Sometimes I have to defend myself on Twitter for my opinion. We're in a day and age now where we have to be opinionated and we have to open ourselves up to scrutiny. We have to open ourselves to comments and opinions and how we feel about each other. We can't keep everything locked up. We can't be, some kind of cancel culture where if somebody speaks their mind on something that they're going to get alienated
right.
and disapproved by everybody. When it comes down to it, you got to speak your mind in order for people to feel where you're coming from. And that's what I usually do. It has no necessarily means where I'm just, up in somebody's business because I want to be. No. I feel if you have an opinion, you should speak your mind.
Okay, so let's talk about that. So, the VP of Operations, Paul Slater, whom you happen to know very well, and I happen to know very well as well, decided to go on Twitter and say a couple things in relations to Tiesa Pierce coming to the OEW arena when she was fired and made a comment, and you felt the need to be that social justice warrior just to mess with Paul. I mean, you just started in the OEW. Do you realize that Paul Slater is now your employer?
Oh, absolutely. And this is kind of funny that you mentioned that because some time ago, about a year ago per se, I was in the other company, and Paul Slater, who was supposed to be a decent, wholesome, actually good friend of mine, decided to, paint a stripe across his back and be something totally different than he wasn't. And he was not very scummy. He was not very scumbaggy-ish. No, he was pretty much following the straight and narrow and trying to be a brand new Paul Slater. And it's like, you were supposed to come and help me. You were supposed to come and show my potential, but no, you wanted to follow the orders and follow the yes men and be a corporate giant with the rest of the guys and see what happens. I gotta thank Paul Slater because if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have left the other company in the first place for the first time. So
right.
Do me and Paul get along? Absolutely not.
Right.
Me and Paul are probably going to forever be enemies.
Right.
Guy had it out for me ever since I started. I had a radio show. He bum rushed my radio show when I was trying to
Mm-hmm.
have a conversation with a certain Jameson
Right.
or a shot of Jameson, so to speak. And he's just been a constant nuisance. And yeah, he's my boss, but you know what? It's not like I haven't fought with my bosses before.
Right.
You know?
So let's talk about when you started out. So I'm going through some notes here, actually, and it says here in my notes that you were actually discovered by Damian Fury, who is obviously everybody knows is the Omen.
My
That's how
coach.
you got. That's yes, your coach. That's how you got involved in wrestling. How did that come
Yeah.
about?
Well, Damien, I like to call him the Omen. I call him Coach. I've
Okay.
always called him Coach, no matter what spectrum of good or evil or bad or face or heel we are on. He is always going to be my coach. He taught me everything that I knew. Well, we used to run with a lot of motorcycle gangs back in the day.
Okay.
Uh, when I was over in Japan, I was a subsidiary group of a motorcycle gang that he was a part of. I was over in the states visiting, and he's like, "Hey, you want to come see me beat somebody's ass in a wrestling ring?" I had nothing to do, so I'm like, "Yeah, let's go for it. Let's do it." Give me a free ticket to a show, and I watched him for 20 minutes beat the hell out of one of the bosses there, and I'm like, "This is cool." And with my background and with who I am, I decided, this sounds right for me too. Now, I had experience over in Japan with wrestling as well that Damien did not know about,
Okay.
and I didn't divulge that information to him until he took me under his wing to train me and realized very quickly that I knew exactly what I was doing and what to do.
Right. Right. So how was it training under Omen?
Hellacious. He does not pull punches. He is a very serious trainer. He makes sure that everything's right on the money, and if it's not right on the money, you're gonna get a clothesline from hell. he will knock you on your ass if you do not do things right.
Yeah, he definitely does have that way about him, especially knocking people. Yeah.
He
Yeah.
gave me a grit. He gave me a grit and determination. It's sort of like a piece of coal being ever pressed against two immovable forces that turns into a diamond after a while. He created a diamond in a rough when he trained me with the way he has a very heavy-handed way of dealing with training, but the training works.
Right. So LBA, let me ask you a question. So this has been one that I've been trying to figure out myself in the last 2 years. When you started out on the scene, and I remember because, like I told you before, we were both working for the same company at the time, and I was slowly transitioning myself on the way out. Um, you were a completely different person. You were like, I don't want to see, you were like almost like the modern day Robin Hood. And I think I remember, when I had Twitter back then, because I'm one of those guys that likes to delete my Twitter and then make a new account every once in a while. So, but when I had my Twitter back then, I think I made a comparison to you as being the modern day Robin Hood because you had this thing about you that you wanted to give back and you were, paying people or trying to do good when you first made your appearance back 2 years ago. But since then, you've changed your image multiple times. And what is up with the constant changing? Like you'll go with a certain style of look, and then before you know it, you're wearing kabuki face paint and wearing a boa, or now you look completely different from when you looked like a month ago. Like what is inspiring you to do that?
I feel that in certain situations, you got to adapt to change.
Okay.
I also feel like a lot of a lot of Americanization and a lot of Japanese kind of themes and styles usually befall me. Like I try to keep my look between an American look, but also a Japanese look. Now, I mean, you could look at my body and you could automatically tell that my tattoos are all considered Japanese origin, and that's where they always will be and always have been. With me, you got to adapt to the style. You got to adapt to where you're at. You know, um, I do stick with one style now. The style is definitely more of a New Japan Pro Wrestling type style
Right.
or DPW style. Um, I decided to go more into my Japanese roots than my American roots because that's the LBA I'm used to being. That's who I'm always used to being. I'm always used to being, you know, the person that wears furs and wears get-up pants and comes out with kimonos and just be over the top when I come out and breathe fire and just I want to put on a show for everybody. I want everybody to see that wrestling doesn't have to be the same two-toned wrestler and the same two-tone, you know, tights, the same two-tone everything day after day and week after week and month after month. I consider wrestling fashionable as well. I love to come out with the brand new gear. I love to come out with the brand new colors. I love to make
Okay.
people say, "Wow, this guy is fashionable." He comes out and he looks, the same, and sometimes he looks different and things like that. I add a tweak here, I add a tweak there. Some things you may never notice is like sometimes I have my hair in braids. Sometimes I take the braids out, and this is what my hair looks like without the braids.
Right.
So,
Right.
there's one thing that's never gonna change, and that's my face. I have an acid scar from FPW. I was in a Japanese death match. If and I'm not even, you know what I'm gonna say, I was in a Japanese death match with a trench brother,
Wow.
and he decided to spit acid in my face.
Oof.
So if you see the left side of my face right now, you can tell that I have a considerable amount of skin damage on the left side of my face, and that is going to be there permanently for the rest of my life.
I mean, they can't do any skin grafts to kind of try to repair the tissue damage that's been caused, or
I mean, the skin grafts has already been done. This
okay.
is the scar that overhangs. I am actually a good 75% blind in my left eye
Okay.
because of that acid damage.
Yeah,
And,
I know I know a little bit of something about wrestlers being blind, but I won't bring that up here in this
and,
program. This is all about you.
like, let me tell you something. It doesn't add to the fact of my fashion or anything like that. That adds more to my determination. That adds to the more of what I was gonna do just to win that FPW World Heavyweight Championship. What I will go through, to prove a point, what I would go through to show everybody that I am the real deal.
The real deal. So let me ask you this, LBA. I've seen you in many different promotions. I mean, there's a couple that we've mentioned, there's a couple that we have not mentioned here in the program. The ones that really stand out the most is obviously FPW, BCW, and I believe you did a run over at DCWF. I'm not sure if you've made it to VWE yet or
Yes, I
some.
have. I have.
Okay, so when you join these places, and again, I've followed you now for the last couple of years since I've personally been back in wrestling. And I notice there's always this controversy around you where, and I got to give you credit, despite whatever issues there are there in the horizon, you don't give up. So I definitely need to commend you for not giving up because I'll be perfectly honest with you. 9 years ago, I gave up and I just left. I took my bags and I went home. I never looked at this ever again until myself and my partner in crime decided to bring back the OEW after
Right.
a 9 year hiatus. You, on the other hand, you're over at ABC Fed, DEF, 123, 456 Fed, and you have these issues, you leave, you end up somewhere else, then you go back to that one place, and you just don't give up. Like, how do you do that? Because me personally, if something happens and I'm not happy, I go and I don't come back. What is
Right.
that drive that you have that you want to just stick around and fight this good fight?
And and that's a good question. And I'm gonna answer that with this. It's like, and I'm gonna answer that with everybody that's watching this show right now. Always show your availability. Always show that you're ready to work, and always show that you're always ready to work with anybody and anything that you can get your hands on. Now, see, I was part of RWA. I was part of Henry Parker's Fed at one point. I
Mm-hmm.
had a great time over there. I had my whole, intergalactic Viking gimmick, and I had a blast over there.
Right.
I was able to record on a space station that was made just for me. I was able to incorporate my intergalactic championship, which I defended 10 times against legitimate people. FPW same way. When it comes down to it, and me leaving feds and coming back and leaving feds, you always gotta know your worth.
Okay.
I'm not gonna be some corporate sellout kiss ass that's gonna sit there and fall in line with the rest of the kiss asses
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and sit there and wait for the owners and the management to sit there and push a little bit of food off the table so I can get a scrap here or there. If I'm
Right.
coming somewhere, I get it. There's other people that's been working for years and years and years and years, and I have a huge amount of respect for a lot of people. A lot of people, and they know exactly who they are. A lot of them I work with at BCW. I have a huge amount of respect for everybody there that bust their ass.
Right. Right.
But you got to know your worth. You come in, and if you're hustling harder than everybody else, but yet this person, because they're friends with management, they get a title shot. They get the high end stories. They get to depict and control their narrative. But you don't. You're the one that's putting out Twitters every day. You're the one that's hustling for that Fed every day and sharing that Fed every day and offering your services and offering promo classes and offering classes. You're taking time out of your busy day, out of your real life, to teach people about SL wrestling, teach them the principles about SL wrestling and things like that. But yet, you have people that are behind the scenes, you know, kissing up to the bosses and getting whatever they desire because they're buddy with the bosses. I'm not down with something like that. And I tell these bosses, look, I'm not going to kiss your ass. I will be as straightforward with you as 100% as possible, and I will always, 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 always tell you how I feel, regardless if it's good, bad, or indifferent. And that's a lot of the reasons why.
Right. Well,
And there's
let's.
sometimes where,
Mm-hmm.
let me one more thing. There's sometimes
Sure.
where I feel, you know, that some places are not a right fit. It doesn't necessarily mean the places are bad. It's just not right for me. And
And
that's basically how that goes.
and what about the controversies that surround you? Like, what can you explain a little bit about that
It
have
goes
led
back to
you
me
to be departing from some of these companies?
That goes back to me being a very opinionated person.
Okay.
If I feel somebody, not exactly me, but somebody's being done wrong, I'm gonna back them up.
Okay.
I feel a lot of controversy rides me because I see people that don't deserve certain things getting put on pedestals when there's people like me and there's certain other people that I'm not going to name because I do not want them getting in trouble, bust their ass, work day in and day out to not only get their name out there, but they do their own music videos, they do their own entry videos, they do their own promo in, they do their own, they make their own gear, their own gear. They go out and buy, you know, transferable gear that they can make their logos on and sell to people. These people hustle and they don't ask for nothing. They do it all themselves. They become their own company. They become their own conglomerate. And
Right.
they get pushed past like nobody's business. Because somebody wants to act like they're a Marvel superhero character. Or somebody wants to act like they're like, the good guy from some hero film, or somebody wants to act like they want to sing and dance, like they're in WWE 2012. You know,
Right.
I'm LBA, and that's all I'm ever gonna be.
Right.
You know, I'm always gonna be me. I'm always gonna be that former movie star that turned into a wrestler. Always has controversy following me. Now, here's the thing about that. And yes, this is going to be the answer to your question right here. Controversy follows me because I always want to be challenged. I want to be challenged. And a lot of people, they don't like that.
Right.
Management, some people don't like that. Some people don't like when their words are challenged. They want you to do this and do it my way or have the highway kind of deal. No, I don't play like that, man.
Right.
It's like we either play ball, we talk things out, we go with the flow, or I'm gone. That's how it works. You know what I mean? It's like I'm not gonna let anybody control what I say and how I act. Now, can I take opinions and can I take concerns and can I take suggestions? Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Who doesn't in this life now? All I'm saying is people want to play ball, step up to the plate and see if I swing. If people don't want to play ball, you're going to get struck out. Plain and simple.
Okay. Definitely very good answers there. So here's my next question for you, and this is the one that everybody wants to know. Why OEW? Why are you here at Over the Edge Wrestling? How do you feel about coming over here?
Well, Lex, let me tell you that right now. I've been standing in the crowd for about 3 months now.
Okay.
Pretty sure you guys saw me in the crowd popping here and popping there. Sometimes I bring over my assistant. You all know very well who my assistant is.
Mm-hmm.
She's the Havoc Queen, Lilith. She's under contract right now, but after her contract is up, she'll be here too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, something happened the other day that really pissed me off. This is before I got contracted. My contract was still being, how should I say, negotiated. And I do want to thank Paul for something. I do want to thank Paul for hiring me, even though he hates my guts. I do want to thank him for hiring me. Respectfully, I do want to thank him for that. However, I saw somebody who I'm not going to say his name because he don't deserve to have his name said anymore. Drop a title and just walk away.
Right.
Now, if I was in the said situation, I'd rough it out. So, you got Tank here. You got Bannock. You got Koa. You got Monkeen. You got all these major players. I want LBA to be in the mix. You know where I want to be within the next 6 months, Lex?
What's that?
I want to be your world heavyweight champion. And not only do I want to be your world heavyweight champion, I want to take OEW from here and beyond. I want to bring more people into OEW. I want to show people that, hey, you know what? You don't have to sit there and have somebody else control your narrative. You can come here and control your own narrative, control your own story, do your own thing, and be your own person.
Right.
I am here to make OEW better. And don't get me wrong, don't think I'm this DHA guy who looks like Kratos from God of War, who lives in a
Oh.
van down by the river.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't like you, DHA. And if you're the first one to get in the ring with me, that'll be the greatest thing in my entire life because I would shut you and every single doubter up.
So let me just so since you just mentioned DHA, DHA likes to speak out a lot against the liberal agenda. Are you one of those liberals that he likes to speak about?
Oh, I'm not a liberal agenda, not at all. No, you know
Okay.
what? I'm
Okay.
the person that's going to come here and teach you wrong. You can sit there and talk about the liberal agenda, but when it comes down to it, the liberal agenda ain't going to save your ass in the ring. You get what I'm saying? It's going to be
Yes.
me and you, bell to bell, and we're going to see who the best wrestler is. You know, a lot of my style, I switched a lot of my style up. A lot of my style now is a lot of strong style,
Mm-hmm.
travels, and I'm going to put your ass to sleep. Plain and simple. If I don't like you, I'm putting you to sleep right in the middle of the ring.
Right. Now
Nap,
let me
nap, or nap.
let me ask you this. Do you think that you could take on a guy like Mankeen Daishin, my client?
You've been following me for a couple years now. You know people that I fought already. You know,
And I
yes,
know,
he has a lot of determination. He
yeah.
has a lot of power. He has a lot of raw savagery behind him. But I want to face him when he's all better. And he doesn't have to worry about an injury. I want him 100%. I mean,
Okay.
because I think and like, look, we're never gonna stand side by side in a wrestling ring. Maybe not. We're never gonna really be friends, Lex. But I just want to be a respectful stance with that. I don't want to face him when he's not 100%. So he has if I do beat him, I don't want him having a reason why I beat him. I want to have everybody at 100% so I could prove to you, Paul, whoever else.
What
I
about
have to.
what about Bannock Og? Do you think you think you could
Oh,
take Bannock on?
loudmouth, loudmouth. Yes. Okay. So you invited me to do comms yesterday, and that was my intro. And oh, you suck on comms. You suck this. Spits on ground. Like spitting on the ground.
Yeah, that is
Me and
kind of
Banacon,
nasty. I gotta agree
me
with you.
and Banacon go way back. Okay, I know Banacon outside of wrestling. A person, he's not intelligent. Think about it. He's kind of stupid. You're gonna take, and that's not me being heelish. That's me being real. You're gonna take a world title shot, screw yourself over by hitting somebody in the face with a rim. Are you stupid? Are you dumb?
I
You had
I
that match
mean,
won. You had
I,
that match won.
Look, I can't defend the reasoning why Bannock did what he did. But there's obviously a reason for everything that happens. We just don't know what goes on in the minds of people. I'm sure that there was a reason why that happened the way it did. Granted,
He's a Paul Slater guy, right?
I don't know who. You know what? That's a good question. We'll have to ask. I'll have to ask Paul and find
I'll
out.
tell you something right now. If nobody steps up to the plate and Bannock wants to step up to the plate, come on, let's do this, man. I'm ready for anybody in OEW.
What about Steve
You
Smith?
know,
Do you think you could take on Steve Smith?
Steve Smith.
Yeah.
Yeah, if he passes drug tests, I mean, with me, okay, it's okay to smoke. Get it? One of my favorite wrestlers was RVD. That's all he did all his life. I get it. I can't even say I can't even be a straight face with Steve Smith. I like Steve Smith, and whenever came a chance that I could tag with Steve Smith, I would. I have
Okay.
no problem with Steve Smith whatsoever. But if me and Steve are in the ring together, it's going to be the same outcome as before. I'm going to put him to sleep. Very simple.
So what about? I'm gonna ask one more question concerning a talent here in the OEW. What about Johnny Angel, Mr. High Fly? We saw him the other day against Hiroto Katsu, who happens to be one of
Ah,
your boys and my
yeah,
former client, who decided to run off and have a change of heart in life. Which I'm not going to
yeah.
even get into that because that's an entire promo for me. But what about Johnny Angel?
Hiroto. Real quick on a side note, was my tag team partner over in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
Me, him, and Lilith and Yuna, who is actually a part of your Fed too,
Correct.
um, had the group called the Cancellation Squad, but it was with a K. And not Cancellation Squad as, oh, we're going to cancel you. We got in the ring and we got fucking business done. And that's that.
Mm-hmm.
Honey Angel. You know, a lot of people disrespect Johnny Angel, but he has such uber talent, and I think a lot of it's just the bad guys being really pissy that he gets involved in business. I see myself like Johnny Angel a little bit. You know, it's like sometimes you need to avert yourself when other people into some businesses because you notice maybe people maybe need help. That's what the song's all about, right? Send me an angel. But if he was ever in the ring with me, I think it would be a 5-star match, 100%.
Okay. Okay. So we talked about the Trench Brothers. We talked about your little group, your posse. You know, so what does the zero mean? I see it on your
What does
shirt.
the zero mean? Here's the thing, and I'm going to answer this question, and you may understand, you may not understand it. The zero doesn't mean nothing.
Okay.
It means I stand behind something and add value to it. And I take no shit from anyone. That's what the zero means. We're a collective. We're a collective group of people, mainly lone wolves, mainly people that have been dealt wrong by the system. And yes, the zero was created by me and a certain somebody that's not going to be named. You know, a little Aussie from down under. Let's just put it that way. Um,
Okay.
Zero was created by us. The Zero had some members in it that you don't like on a personal level, and the Zero is still a thing. Zero is not in just one Fed. The Zero is in multiple Feds.
Mm-hmm.
One of the major members of the Zero is going to be coming here eventually, and that's Lilith the Havoc Queen.
Right.
You know, she was one of my original members. And
Well,
yeah,
I used to
the
think the
Zero does,
zero meant zero wins. You know, that's what I used to.
no,
That's what I used to think. But
until we started racking them up, right?
yeah.
See, that's the thing. People want to call me that lovable loser and things like that. People want to diss me for the name of my shirt, but when I get in the ring and I beat your top guys, what are you gonna say then? Like I
Right.
said, the zero doesn't mean nothing. It means I stand behind something and add a value to it. But it also means I take nothing from nobody. I
Right.
mean, it has the kind of like synonym to it. But I'm glad you asked that because a lot of people did want to know that.
All right. So last thing, because we're kind of getting pressed on time here. What do you have to say to the OEW locker room? I'm giving you a moment right now.
What I have to say to the OEW locker room, you know, and I'm gonna say this straight to them. I'm gonna shoot from the hip here. I walked into your locker room. I got welcomed by two people. I got welcomed by Honey Potts, who I knew for a very long time, and I am so glad she's over here doing her thing.
Mm-hmm.
Finally able to do her thing after being held back and held down for almost 3 years. She is over here busting her ass, and somebody's finally recognizing what a good talent she is. And I got a welcome from Coach. Even though Coach was kind of in his little gimmick, and he was kind of grunting and groaning and walking away and saying, "Well, welcome, welcome, welcome to OEW," and then walks away. That's his thing. Nobody else looked at me. Then I'm in catering, and I see all these eyes just side glance at me.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody walked up to me. Nobody had nothing to say. Nobody wanted to look me right in the eyes. Why is that? Why do you think that is? Because they know. They know. Once I walk through that door, once I walk that backstage, business is gonna pick up. Because look, it's all fun and games backstage. We all chill. We all hang out. We have our little cliques, a little group, whatever. When I'm in that ring, there ain't no games. There is no games. I put that paint on, and I breathe that fire, and that music hits. If you're in the ring, you're getting your ass kicked.
Plain
No
and
doubt.
simple.
I don't care who you are. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're Dwayne Short. I don't care if you're Tank. Hell, you could be BJ, sounding like a knockoff version of Steve Graham, Superstar Boy. I don't care. You're getting your ass kicked. And win, lose, or draw, I'm going to leave the ring. I'm going to leave the arena. I'm going to get in my rental car. And I'm going to go to the next show, or I'm going to wait for the next show. And I'm not going to have any doubts, regrets about what I leave in the ring, because everybody in the fans area and everybody in the backstage is going to be in for a treat. I'm going to showcase who I am to everybody and not have anybody hold me back because they want their buddies to look good. Not have me hold back because somebody needs to get a win because they do feel emotional about themselves. Excuse the hell out of me, dude.
Well,
We're not playing with kid gloves here.
ugh,
No. Satan Ballet.
right.
It is what it is. So when it comes down to it, like I said, at the end of the day, get in the ring with me. You're going to get your ass whooped. Be prepared.
And on that note, well, I got to say thank you very much, LBA. This has been a really great interview. This has been a great discussion. And OEW roster, I mean, you guys heard it. You get in the ring with him, you're going to get your ass kicked, or we're going to be put to sleep. So you guys have been warned. You guys have been put on blast. So I guess I'll be seeing you around, LBA.